Alright, so today we're going to start talking about factoring trinomials. So on one side, I'm going to write down all the steps. On the other side, we're going to do the examples. So let's say you have 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. Step 1, you want to multiply the first and last term together. So the first term is this 2x squared. You're going to multiply it with the last term, negative 3. And you're going to put it underneath the middle term. So 2x squared times negative 3 is going to be a negative 6x squared. All right, so you take the first one, you multiply it with the last one, you get negative 6x squared. But you have to make sure that all these are put in order from the highest exponent down to the smallest exponent. So x squared needs to be first, then your x term, then your constant. Step 2. You want to break apart that number you just got and figure out which combination multiplies to negative 6 and adds up to 5. Alright, so on the side, what I'm going to do is list down all the stuff that multiplies to negative 6 and figure out which one of those adds up to positive 5. So multiply to negative 6. So we're listing down everything that multiplies to negative 6. So we have negative 3 times 2. And then we can also do the opposite of that, negative 2 times 3. And then we can have negative 6 times 1. And then also negative 1 times 6. So this is all the numbers that multiply to negative 6. And we have to pick the one that adds up to positive 5, the middle term. So adds to 5. So we're going to combine all these numbers and figure out which combination combines to the middle term, which is 5. So we have negative 3 plus 2 is a negative 1. And then the next one, negative 2 plus 3 is a positive 1. Negative 6 plus 1 is negative 5. And then the last one, positive 5. So again, we're looking for the one that multiplies to negative 6, which we listed here. And we're combining them and seeing which one adds up to 5, which there's going to be one that works, the last one in this case. So we're going to take negative 6x squared, break it apart into negative 1x and positive 6x. All right, so negative 1x, positive 6x came from the two numbers that multiply to negative 6, adding up to 5. The x squared gets broken apart evenly, so that gets an x, that one gets an x. Step 3. We want to bring the first and last term down. So the first term is this 2x squared. We're going to take it, drop it down. The last term is negative 3. We're going to take that, drop it down as well. And then we got one more step. You want to factor by grouping. So with grouping, you want to take the first two, figure out what's in common. You can divide both 2 and negative 1 by 1, and they both have an x. So they have 1x in common. Parentheses. And then you want to take each of these and divide it by the term that you found in common. So 2 divided by 1 is 2. X squared divided by x leaves you an x left over. Negative 1 divided by 1 is negative 1. The x divided by x, that's 1. Close it off. Move on to the next part. 6x and minus 3, they can both be divided by 3. So we're going to take positive 3 to the front. Parentheses, 2x minus 1. So that came from 6 divided by 3 is 2. You still got your x. Negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. And then group the whole entire thing together. The parentheses are both the same. They're both 2x minus 1s. So you take that, bring it to the front. Or you can just bring it down. And then the other parentheses is the 1x plus 3. So again, when you get to this part, if the parentheses aren't the same, that means you messed up on your factoring or you chose the wrong numbers over here. If you get stuck on grouping, the part 2 of the factoring videos, watch through that, get an understanding of it, then it makes this a lot easier. So, to check your answers, what you can do is multiply these two terms together. So when you're multiplying, you can make a box to keep them organized. One of them is 2x minus 1, the other one is x plus 3. So we're going to just fill in the box and multiply just to check our answer. So 2x squared minus 1x plus 6x minus 3. So they combine like terms. and you get 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. And that's what we started with at the very top. So we know that when we factor it, we got the right answers with the correct signs. All right, so let's try another example. X squared plus 8x plus 12. So we're going to multiply the first and last one together. So the first one is x squared. You're going to multiply it with 12. And that's going to be a 12x squared. We're going to break apart 12x squared and figure out which combination multiplies to 12 and also at the same time adds to 8. All right, so we need it to multiply to positive 12. So we have 6 times 2. We also have negative 6, negative 2. So I'm just listing down more of them, but once you get to one that works, you can just stop. There's no point in listing more because it's not going to be the correct one. There's only one that's going to work. So if you want to list down more, you can. Some of y'all probably listed in different orders, which is fine. So these are all the combinations that multiply to 12, and the first one is the one that works, the only one that adds up to positive 8. So when you break it apart, it's going to be positive 6x and a positive 2x. Oops, let me go back. So when you get to here, it doesn't matter the order that you put them in. You can put 2x in front or you can put 6x in front. It doesn't matter. The grouping steps are going to be a little bit different. The numbers are going to be different, but at the very end, the answer is going to be the exact same. So then you bring the first and last term down. So x squared gets dropped down. And then the 12 also gets dropped down. So then we start grouping. So the first group, it has x in common, so we take x out. The second group, they can both be divided by 2, so we're doing that. Divide everything by 2, so factor out 2. So then you get x plus 6. So 2x divided by 2 is x. 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then we group the whole entire thing again. They both now, the parentheses are the same, so bring it to the front. And you have x plus 2 as your other parentheses. So that's what you get when you finish factoring. If you want to check your answer, you're more than welcome to. But we're going to go on to the next one. So let's say we have 3x squared